Relentless heavy rains have triggered a devastating flood in Sichuan province, China. The rising waters overflowed rivers, avenues, and engulfed streets and poured into countless homes. From the outskirts of Chongqing to the deep mountain valleys, the raging torrents invaded every corner of daily life. Bustling neighborhoods have fallen into an eerie silence. Vehicles were abandoned chaotically at muddy intersections. Many shops were flooded, with goods floating adrift inside. Streets lay buried under thick layers of mud and debris, leaving the landscape completely disfigured. Across Sichuan, the scale of destruction is overwhelming. Suburban communities turned into shallow lakes. In rural areas, wooden houses were swept away from their foundations. Even solid concrete structures bore watermarks several meters high, testifying to the flood's destructive force. Transportation infrastructure was among the hardest hit. Highways connecting cities suffered severe damage. Asphalt peeled away, numerous bridges cracked, and countless rural roads were erased entirely. The railway network, vital for transporting people and goods, was also severed by landslides and washed-out tracks. Many trains were stranded for days, delaying shipments and isolating communities dependent on daily supplies. Electricity and telecommunications were not spared. Substations were submerged, plunging districts into darkness. Power lines across mountain slopes collapsed under mudslides. Transmission towers and fiber optic cables snapped, cutting off entire areas from the outside world. Daily life in towns was completely disrupted. Drinking water was contaminated, drainage systems overflowed, and clean water became scarce. Generators were deployed at key facilities, while engineers raced to restore essential services so residents could regain some stability. Agriculture suffered immense losses. Rice and cornfields were buried in mud. Vegetable farms vanished under stagnant waters. Hillside orchards were swept away by landslides, their roots ripped from the soil. A season's worth of farmers' labor was wiped out in an instant. Irrigation systems, designed to regulate water flow, buckled under the massive strain. Canals burst, reservoirs overflowed, and floodwaters tore down embankments, spreading into new areas and reshaping farmland entirely. Markets, warehouses, and factories in low-lying zones were heavily inundated. Machinery rusted, goods were ruined, and supply chains came to a halt. For small businesses, recovery may take months. For larger industries, financial pressure is only beginning to surface. Community services also plunged into crisis. Schools were flooded and forced to close. Medical facilities reported damaged equipment and temporary power outages. Even government offices had to move records and files to higher ground to avoid destruction. The natural environment bore deep scars. Mountainsides lost their vegetation cover, exposing bare rock and raising the risk of further landslides with every rainfall. Rivers once clear now ran murky with mud, debris, and pollutants. Aquatic ecosystems and water quality were severely disrupted on a wide scale. Large-scale recovery efforts are underway. Bulldozers and excavators worked tirelessly to clear main roads. Rescue teams pumped water from submerged neighborhoods. Engineers inspected damaged bridges, measuring and assessing whether reinforcement or reconstruction was possible. The Sichuan flood is considered one of the harshest disasters the province has ever faced. Its impact stretches across transportation, energy, agriculture, housing, and the environment. The road to recovery will be long and arduous, but the rebuilding has begun. Though the waters may recede, the scars left on the land, the cities, and people's lives will remain for years to come.
Titik ayun tak ada, titik ayun hilang. Titik ayun tak ada, titik ayun tak ada lah. Tinggal titik ayun saja, titik biar.
If you found this news report helpful, please like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Turning on notifications will ensure you don't miss clear, calm, and accurate weather updates. Some images in the video are for illustration purposes only and may not fully reflect the events described. Stay tuned and stay safe.
多吓人呐！老天爷，你看看吧。
On September 6, 2025, Yunnan Province in southwestern China endured a devastating disaster. Days of heavy rainfall triggered severe flooding and caused a major dam in the region to suddenly burst. The collapse released an enormous surge of water that swept through valleys, towns, and farmland, bringing destruction to communities already weakened by floods and waterlogged soils in previous days. This event is regarded as one of the most catastrophic disasters in the province's recent history. For days before the incident, water levels in the reservoir had risen steadily, far exceeding safe limits. Although controlled discharges were carried out, relentless rainfall placed unbearable pressure on the dam. By dawn on the 6th, the wall could no longer hold. Residents downstream recalled hearing a thunderous explosion, followed by torrents of muddy water crashing down, carrying soil, rocks, and debris. Within minutes, entire neighborhoods were submerged, vehicles overturned, homes were destroyed, and fertile farmlands disappeared beneath murky waters. Although evacuation warnings had been issued, the speed of the collapse left thousands unable to escape in time. Rescue teams rushed in with motorboats, rafts, and helicopters to save those trapped. But the fierce currents and floating debris made operations extremely dangerous. Meanwhile, emergency shelters quickly filled to capacity. Thousands of families who had lost their homes crowded into schools, community centers, or temporary tents. For many, The most urgent concern was simply survival, having shelter, clean water, and food to endure the days ahead. The humanitarian toll has been immense. Thousands of homes were swept away or severely damaged. Power lines collapsed, plunging communities into darkness. Hospitals became overcrowded as waves of injured people arrived, while some medical facilities themselves suffered flood damage. Floodwaters mixed with sewage and industrial chemicals, creating severe contamination and raising the threat of disease outbreaks. To prevent a public health crisis, relief organizations distributed water purification tablets, emergency medicines, and essential medical supplies. Yet agricultural losses remain staggering. Rice paddies, cornfields, and vegetable farms were completely destroyed. Livestock perished in large numbers. Seed reserves for the coming planting season were washed away, raising fears of long-term food shortages. Infrastructure across the province was nearly paralyzed. Bridges collapsed, major highways were washed out, and saturated slopes triggered landslides that blocked mountain roads. Railway services were suspended, leaving areas isolated. Engineers were dispatched urgently to inspect remaining dams and reservoirs amid fears of further collapses as heavy rain continued. Authorities mobilized all available resources. Military units were deployed to assist in evacuations, deliver supplies, and reinforce embankments. Hydrological experts monitored river systems and issued early warnings for downstream areas. Humanitarian groups worked with local governments to provide shelter, medicine, and even psychological support. Environmental scientists warned that contaminated soil and water could bring long-lasting effects to agriculture and public health. This disaster stands as a stark reminder of weaknesses in dam management and the growing dangers posed by climate change, which is making extreme weather more frequent and severe. Although Yunnan has flood control infrastructure, this event revealed its limitations. Experts emphasize the urgent need for stricter dam safety standards, expanded real-time monitoring, and community preparedness training.
看地上这个多厚。
Amid the tragedy, the courage and solidarity of Yunnan's people shine through. Many risked their own lives to save neighbors. Volunteers paddled boats to deliver food to flood-hit areas. Doctors and nurses worked tirelessly through the night under dire conditions. Together, they wrote a story of resilience and humanity. The road to recovery will take years. Homes must be rebuilt, transportation restored, farmland rehabilitated, and polluted water sources cleaned. Authorities now face not only the challenge of repairing what was lost, but also of building stronger defenses to protect future generations. For tens of thousands of families, the journey ahead remains daunting, but the shared determination to rise again will be a source of strength. The tragedy of September 6, 2025 will remain a painful memory, but it also serves as a profound reminder of the importance of preparedness, adaptation, and unity in the face of natural disasters. Thank you for following this report, and please stay informed, stay safe, and continue to share solidarity. We will bring you the latest updates in our upcoming reports.
走神胎是有。
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Natural disasters are not just numbers or fleeting image, but real pains and losses that affect millions of people around the world. We hope that through this content, we can foster more empathy, greater awareness, and encourage all of us to take actions, even in small ways, to protect the environment, reduce risk, and support those who are most severely affected by the natural impact. If you find this message valuable, please don't forget to share this to spread the spirit to solidarity. Once again, our deepest gratitude, and we will see you in the next video.